Okay, I'm surprising Chris with a topic that I did not text him about, so I will intro
Okay.
this. Welcome back to another episode of convos.dev. I'm Jess, and this is Chris, and today I want to talk about what counts as ethical versus unethical when using AI, because I've been thinking about that a lot.
Wow.
And I actually think this would bring us into a lot of fun philosophical discussions as well, which I really enjoy. So
Yeah.
I will preface my thinking, which is just like I use AI a lot now. I work in the AI space. I work at an AI startup, and I use it. And there's just so much around like AI writing, when to use it, when to not. When you read it, what do you feel? Recently, the Super Bowl happened. There was a lot around AI generated ads. I open DoorDash, or sometimes I walk down the street and I see a picture of food that's clearly AI generated. I think you see a lot of social media posts that were clearly AI generated, and I think it just there's so much in my head around like what when should I be using AI? What
Hmm.
is AI really being used for in the sense of like research versus synthesis and actual opinion?
Hmm.
And just like, yeah, I just want to talk about, because it's just like there's no, since this is so new for everyone, I think everyone has a different moral baseline for how they want to use it and what they're okay consuming from it. So that's kind of the preface for what I want this conversation to be.
Wow.
Yeah.
I love that bomb just dropped right on me. Yeah, like I think for me, there's like levels to this. My initial take is like there's the ethical level of like more global things like the use of water and like
Yeah.
copyrighted material like training data and like what this does for the planet's ecosystem. Like there's those kinds of ethical questions. Then there's also like the human versus machine ethical questions that sometimes bleed more into like deception. A lot of times that's not so much around code. It's usually around art and music and things like that, or writing. And so I think there's different answers depending on like the medium that's chosen as well.
Yeah.
And then I think maybe there's a third one, which is how things are presented. Often people will present things as their work.
Yeah.
And in a sense, like they built the app, but did they build the app? You know, and so I think, is it necessary that you should tag or like have Claude commit for you so that everyone can see Claude helped? Is it necessary to mention what you've used? Are we at a point where that doesn't matter anymore? If you're writing, do you need to reference that? So I think, like, to me, there's a few different levels to talk about this on. I don't know what you think about that rubric.
No, I think that's great. I think let's talk about the second and third buckets.
Okay.
And for the second one, let's narrow down first to AI writing.
Okay.
So, one of the biggest things I've been thinking about personally is like, one, it like if you know an article or research blog or whatever is written by AI, like or like maybe 50% by AI, 50% by human,
Yeah.
but as soon as you know like AI has had a hand in it, do you still think it's worth reading? That's my first question.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's start there.
Yeah. I think for me, it's hard because I feel like a lot of writing is bad, and so like I don't like. There's very few people that I will read long form stuff from, and the ones I do are ones that are known for their storytelling, their craft, and so like I think I would tend to not read a lot of stuff by most people, and maybe that's just snobbery. I don't know, but like I think we've talked about in the past, like you have to earn people's time, and like a lot of us, like I feel busy, you know, and so it's hard for me to like really say like, okay, this is worth my time. I think probably the only ones that I would openly read that I knew were written by AI would be documentation type stuff. That it's just like I just need the steps, and I don't really care what the fluff is. And for those, like I don't really care who wrote it if it gives me what I need.
Yeah.
For a lot of more like long form pieces or blogs, um, I I don't know that I can typically tell if it's just bad writing or if it's AI. And it's very possible that there's times where I have thought something was decent that was written by AI. I doubt it, but it's possible. But I think I tend to gravitate more towards like trusted, journalists or tech writers who've done it for 15 years, who are good storytellers. And those are the ones that I like to read anyhow. And so for me, like, that's who I'd move towards first. So I don't know. I think for me, the ones I would be happy with are ones where I just need the data quickly.
Yeah. What would happen if you, for one of the people that you do spend time reading, because you think they're actually good writers, what would happen if you read a piece from them, thought it was great, and a week later you learned that they used AI to write like 75% of it?
Yeah. I don't know that I would personally care because I had like a bank of trust with them in that way.
Yeah.
And I've known them long enough that they were writing before AI. So like, I think it's possible to train AI on your voice in such a way that it can communicate you accurately. I still think most people who write long form that I trust are also the kinds of people that view it almost like art. And so it would shock me, I think, more than anything. I don't think I would stop reading what they write, but I think I would read it differently.
That's fair. And like, so for me, my experience writing with AI is a lot of the time, it's like, I feel as if the thoughts and opinions and the actual like structure and I guess research that sometimes goes into the writing is all mine. But a lot of the time I use AI to essentially turn that into writing. Mostly because for me, like, and I wouldn't consider myself a good writer, but like I'm more interested, or I want to spend more time doing that research part. Like essentially like building out whatever project, so like I work in evals, so I build out a lot of evals now. I think that part is super fun, super interesting. I think evals has a lot of creativity because it's like running different experiments essentially all the time. And I love that part of it. The writing part, it takes up so much time, and it's not the part I want to focus time on. So I use AI to write a lot of it, but I have all the research, I have the outline. I'm very prescriptive about how I want it to write things. And then it just turns that into sentences. Sometimes I feel bad about it because it does feel weird to like be like, here's my outline, now go write the blog. And of course there's so much tweaking that goes into it. And the thing is, I don't know if I should feel guilty about it. It's a very gray area for me because I honestly feel like a lot of, like, all the research, all the thoughts are still mine, but all the writing is pretty much AI. So, yeah, I'm curious to see what you
like. I do think that there's something mentally that we miss when we don't craft the sentences.
Yeah.
And some of it comes down to purpose, like everything. What was the reason you're writing this? If one of the main purposes is you want to grow and like stretch your mind and how you organize stuff, like I think you're probably missing something by not crafting the sentences. But I don't think you'd always have to craft the sentences. But like most good writing is good thinking. Like, can this person think accurately? Can they process in a way that makes sense, that like leads from one point to the next? Like ideally in a long form piece, you should be asking, but what about, and then they say, now you might be asking, like, that's kind of how a good writer writes. Like you anticipate objections, you make arguments for what you're saying, you're outlining it in such a way that's easy to follow, you kind of understand the path you're going on. And I think that like so much of that really shapes the way you think as well. Like there's this backfeed into the way you think when you have to write. So I don't think it's wrong to never do that. One thing I think you're doing really well is you doing the initial research. One thing that's kind of like a hard stop for me is like, I don't think I would ever let AI kind of say, here's the scope of what we're talking about. Here are the 5 things we should consider, because once you've like code there's only a few ways to do stuff, to do it, that's a legitimately safe way. Now, of course, in JavaScript, there's like 10 ways to do stuff, but even so, there is a scope. When you're coming to a concept, like there are many infinite ways to approach that, like from a storytelling perspective, from the data gathering perspective. And when you artificially scope your learnings to like what you're given by the AI to start with, for me, I feel like you've you've done the lazy thing of not allowing yourself to have to piece through all of that.
Yeah.
And you're given, like, let's say you have 100 options and AI gives you 10. As soon as you get those 10 options at the start, you totally don't know there's 90 other options, and you're not going to explore those either. And even if you've chose the best 10, the process of narrowing down to those 10 actually is what changes you as a person. So like writing is this interesting opportunity to basically think out loud and let that thinking, the process of thinking, influence the way you think. Like, and so I think for me, the fact that you're doing the research up front, and even if you're using AI for that, you're saying like, "Ooh, we should think about this. Oh, I should think about this." You're compiling, you're deciding what's not important. Like most good writing, most good speaking is knowing what not to say, not knowing what to say. And like you should have so much more to say than you ever say. And the process of like culling that down is what good thinking and writing is. So for me, like the fact that you're doing that up front is the most important part. I do think you'd probably benefit from occasionally being the one to craft the sentences too, because it has that kind of backfeeding information. But I don't know. That's a couple of thoughts around what you said.
I love that. So, and the way that you speak about it is so, it really does seem like art to you, which.
Yeah. The comical thing is I'm a really bad speller. So that's where I use AI and like, other things just like, am I using the right word here? Do I know how to spell anything? So hopefully spell check catches that too. But I would like to think I think like that. I don't write a lot publicly, but I write a lot privately. And
you write a lot.
So maybe I need to write more publicly.
I haven't really looked at your blog recently, but do you still write a lot for that?
My personal blog or Resends?
Your personal one.
No, I don't. It's been a couple of years.
It's hard. It's
I
hard
do
to find
journal
time,
pretty
right?
much every day and write pretty extensive thoughts there, just because I find that's really crucial for me to kind of process what I'm going through.
Do you still do journaling through speaking, or are you journaling like? Because I know you used to speak for your journaling.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I do both. I speak pretty much. So I'll do it both for tasks I'm working on and for journaling every day. So like usually I start the day and I just hold down a transcription button and I talk for 15 minutes. And then in the tool I'm going to share today, I tell Claude Code, take this and turn it into tasks.
Yep.
But that process of like talking things out is so crucial for the way I think because I'm such a verbal processor. Sorry, I'm talking so much. But I do also write a lot, and for like long form writing, usually just for myself. Like I'll take a bunch of things I've been thinking about and kind of write like a little mini essay for myself, and that I write by hand. Yeah.
And you do this how often?
I don't know, maybe once or twice a week where I'm like, I just need to capture all these thoughts and order them. And so like I usually do it in Obsidian. So I have an Obsidian vault and I'm like, I've had all these stray thoughts. I need to kind of put this together. And it might be something around like, I've been thinking about like how I was so critical about AI to start with. Like, why was I that way? What were the things that were motivating me? And like, that's not something anybody else cares to read, but I'm like, I kind of need to figure out like, why was that hostile?
No, I'm so curious. Like what, I'm curious about what, give like a really, really quick, I don't know.
Oh, that was like last week I wrote something out on that. Yeah, I think for me, like it wasn't so much like an existential crisis, but because I haven't been coding that long, but I just like the craft of writing syntax. And I know that's probably weird and dumb, but it's like I do. And like, so part of my conclusion was like, maybe like syntax writing is like people who like knit, it's like, you don't have to knit. There's plenty of stuff you can buy that a machine can do it in 10 minutes, but like taking 2 months to do something is just like a craft that you want to do and you enjoy. And like, maybe that's what syntax writing is going to be. And I think I need to be okay with that. And so like, that was one of my thoughts. Like, I think I was threatened by that because I felt like AI was taking that away. And I'm realizing like, no, it's just shifting where that sits in life. Like it's more of a hobby and it's fun and that's fine. And I can still enjoy it and not feel guilty about it because it takes longer. So like that was one reflection of like why I think I was hostile at first internally.
Yeah. Damn. Sorry, this just sparks a couple of thoughts, but not related to this. It's so funny because you and I feel like can like go forever, but we also have like a time limit for this podcast. I'm trying to like keep things on task.
Yeah. And
okay.
like we only talked about writing so far. I'm curious, like, do you want to delve into any of the other ones, like how people present it or other areas like code or art or anything like that?
I think one thing that I've also felt guilty about is I love XKCD comics, and I've always loved the way those are drawn, like hand drawn. And
Yeah.
with AI nowadays, it's so easy to turn conceptual things into things that look like XKCD comics. I've used XKCD style for graphs because I love their bar charts and graphs and things like that, and also their comic strips
Yeah.
with the like stick figure humans. And I've done
Yeah.
two of them so far, and it's one of those things that's so easy now to do it. You just pop in a reference photo and you pop in what you want, and it will just come up with something, and it's very, very good. And part of me, is like, I don't know if I should feel bad about this, because I know there's some artist out there that has put their whole life into crafting a very specific brand. And now people are just kind of ripping off this. And, even in the posts that I'm doing, it's not like I'm saying caveat, like this, I'm, giving kudos to this artist and this is AI generated. Like I could, but I don't, it's one of the things I guess I don't see other people doing it, even though things are very obviously AI generated. So and there's things like that where it's put into a social post or it's put into a blog, and I never know how I really feel about it. Yeah. I think I should feel guilty maybe. I don't think I do, but it's also because I think so many people are doing it, and I'm one to, follow the social flow of things, and so I just don't feel like it's
Like with that Ghibli style art. Remember when that was like a huge thing, and
Yes,
everyone
that
was just
too.
posting that everywhere.
it
That got
is-
more kickback, I feel like.
Yeah. Well, because I'm sure because it takes like those types of animations are so. It's also
Yeah.
I guess maybe cultural, like maybe like Japanese anime creators or things like that. It feels disrespectful to like take that
Yeah.
art. Yeah.
Well, it feels like people have a couple responses. Like one is, if I would have hired somebody in the past and now I'm using AI art, that's bad. Like I've heard that take before, but like I wasn't ever going to hire anyone. So like I'm not taking a job from somebody. Nobody got this in the first place. But I think when you're using super popular styles, like there's another layer of question to ask. And I don't know that like, it's interesting to me, like in different areas, it seems like with music and with art and with some of these things, like there's a fairly hostile stance in those communities towards AI. But as a developer or someone who's not in that zone, like number one, I don't think I hear those voices a lot. And number two, it's like nobody around me cares. Like it seems, because it's like, oh, it's cool that you were able to do that, So I think there's a lot of questions around that, like on a personal level that like are yet to be handled by a lot of us. And I don't know where I stand on that.
Well, what happens
personally,
if
I
you
think,
see like if you see a company that's using a lot of AI generated ads, does that leave a bad taste in your mouth? Because it does for me actually, and I also see a lot of pushback on like there are people who have at least claimed that they are abandoning a product because they used AI, or if they on the flip side if they use real models or I think it's a trend now for people to like prove that they did an ad through like real filming, which is like they're almost defending themselves, or it's a way to make them more popular because they're like not doing AI. So
yeah, I think it does with companies mostly because I'm like, you have money, like you can just hire somebody to do this. But on the other hand, I know from being within a company that it's like, it's one person who has to do all this, so I think it's hard to kind of separate that, like knowing the inside baseball versus, not, from just like the outside perspective, but it does leave a bad taste. I think because I'm like, if it's that valuable to you, if you're going to write do an entire ad campaign, you can pay somebody like to actually do this. And I think I would love to see us in a world where like there's more cultural delineations on like what's okay and what's not, but I don't know that we will ever get there.
Yeah, I think for like 10 years from now, like for AI video and arts to not completely take over, it can't just be the argument that you had, which is you should pay somebody to do this because you have the money to, because that's never going to be enough. I think the only way... It's
not how businesses work.
Yeah, it's not how businesses work. I think the only way is to actually show that a human-generated thing can still be better than AI. And I think that's hard to, besides like a lot of people abandoning, like that's more of a protest thing, but I don't know how
Sure.
long that will last. Besides that, I think it's hard to actually say that some things are better. I think there's some, like, I've seen some designer brand ads where they work, I think it's Hermes bags. I have to find it, but like they did an ad campaign where like they use like artists with very, very unique art styles that were not AI generated. And I think it's like it's a slowly shrinking niche though, because eventually I believe that a lot of AI is going to be able to replicate a lot of this. And so it's a very sad thing because outside of morality, there's actually no logical use case to not use AI, if that makes sense. Which,
Like, yeah.
yeah.
And we're losing that craft, like so much of that craft that you need 25 years of doing it to get to.
Yeah.
Like, who's going to do those early years? You know, like right now we're in this quasi weird zone where you have people who've done their thing for 20 years.
Yeah.
They've been a hand illustrated artists forever. And now they're trying to figure out, do I incorporate AI? What does that look like? But like, that's a different question than if you're a student who's, 18 years old and deciding, should I go through the painstaking like work of learning how to do this for 20 years when somebody can literally just spin this up? But I think that like one of my general thoughts about AI is like now craft and decisions of like what you should do become so much more important since everyone can do anything. Like it's actually like the differentiation may not be human to AI. The differentiation may be in a sense what it's always been, but now everyone has this differentiation, like what has taste, what is crafted.
Yeah.
And maybe the decision of whether or not AI is involved won't be as big of a deal. And it will be more about like the quality rising to the surface. That's maybe way too optimistic of a take, but I do think that craft and like decision making about what to build, since I could build 10 SaaSes this week if I wanted to, like that is actually a much more important question now.
Yeah, I agree.
There's so much to talk about
There's
here.
so much to talk about. What was your third buck again? Can you remind me? Because you had three.
Just how you present it. Yeah. Like, do you present it as your own? Is it necessary that you always tag AI, always mention that AI was involved if you use AI?
Maybe we talk about that in another podcast. Like, I don't think I would love to talk about this more. We can't fit it all into one. Maybe we do that for like a future one. Yeah.
Yeah. No, that sounds great.
Let us know in the comments below if you want to.
Yeah. If you're tired of hearing us talk about this too, that would be great to know.
Yeah. I mean.
But I feel like we've got another one in us at least about this.
I think so much about AI because I work in it so much and because it's so topical.
Yeah.
But I'm happy to shut up about it too because there's other things I think about. But
Well, this week I have just jumped completely into the deep end, and like I cannot wait to show you the stuff I've been doing with AI. So I am definitely in that zone right now because I'm like, I need to finally really commit to this.
Yeah.
Not so much as like a permanent lifestyle, but like I need to be able to have intelligent thoughts about this from using it.
Yeah.
And most of the hot takes I feel like I hear from people who don't like AI are people who don't use AI.
I
and I'm
agree.
like, you can't really have a take,
Yeah.
And so I think I'm trying to find the place, and I'm realizing that it has way more place in my life than I thought. But I think it's given me more nuanced takes about AI too, from experience. So I want to chat more
hear
about
this. Should we do we should do a podcast episode on that, like Chris's thoughts on AI as somebody who used to be a skeptic. Shoot, that would have been a good one.
That would have been a great one. Well, let us know if you want us to keep talking about this. Well, obviously, like we probably need to alternate and do some other stuff too. So we'll try to do that. But I do think that it's just part of like life has changed so much, and we'd be foolish not to like talk about it. Not because it's a buzzword or we're trying to get trying to give it attention, but it really has dramatically changed our day-to-day life. And it'd be weird if we weren't discussing that.
I agree.
And I like this more philosophical discussion too, because I think so much is just around like all the stuff I shipped and like the amount of agents I have going, and just like honestly that kind of bores me. I'd much rather talk about like let's think deeply about this. So I appreciate you bringing it up, even if it was a spring that I didn't know we were going to.
You're good. Yeah, I don't know. I was just thinking about it last night. I was like, what am I most excited to talk about? And I was like, hold on.
I'm glad you brought it up.
Thanks. Okay, hold on.
Let me jump into a tool then, if that's cool.
Yeah, go for it.
I found this cool little text editor that is built by AI basically, and a guy. In fact, I contributed to it at least once, but it's called
Oh.
Scratch. And I think the thing I really like about it is it's just a very simple markdown editor. It has a Git access as well, so you can just connect it to repo and like push it from there. It also has Claude and Codex like built in as well, so you can grab all your stuff. I was mentioning earlier that I like talk stuff out and then just say organize this, and I literally talk it out in this text document. Then I invoke Claude and just say organize this into bullet points, and it reorders all that. It's just a very simple markdown editor. So it's an interface for that, but it's a nice little, I don't know, it's really fit well into my workflow, and it's being super actively developed. Every single commit basically has a user and Claude committing to it. It's built, I think, in Tari. So it's built in Rust, but I don't know how much the actual developer writes in Rust regularly or not.
Yeah.
But so it's been really delightful and fun to like play with, and that I can like put in PRs and stuff is nice because everyone else is doing it with AI too. And just as long as you keep them small and scoped and like, hey, it would be nice to add this little feature. I found it really, really beneficial and a cool part of my workflow.
That's awesome. This is like it's like the Mac Notes app, but better, essentially.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which
yeah.
I need this because I put things in Notes all the time, but it's like, yeah, it's bad editing UI. So this is very cool.
Yeah. Well, let me know what you think about it. They've already changed a ton of stuff since I started using it last week. But I've been really impressed by it.
Okay, awesome. Scratch, which is also the first programming language I learned.
I know, right?
Scratch.
Yeah, the MIT thing.
The MIT thing. Does that count as a programming language? Whatever.
Yeah, no, it does.
Okay. Mine is this. So it's called Thyroid Early Detection. It's an open source repo, but the story behind it is this guy has Graves' disease, I believe, and he would have these episodes. And he uploaded his medical data to Claude Code and then just did a bunch of training, essentially with the hope of being able to predict when his next episode would be. And he actually found it to be really pretty accurate. Of course, I have not used this. I do not have hyperthyroid episodes. But I just thought this was a really cool use case. I actually saw a video on TikTok where he was talking about it, and then I went to go check out his blog, and then went to go check out this repo. And I believe he's also making this into like an app to help other people. So I just thought this was super, super cool. And like the cool thing is it actually works, because I think anyone can have this idea, but the fact that he, through personal experience, like found it was actually useful was super cool. And like I have a friend who's doing a startup on something similar, trying to predict when people will have migraines, because she has had like a lot of migraines in the past. So this idea of using AI to try to predict when a next quote unquote episode of some sort or like medical episode will happen is really interesting. And to be honest, it's cool to see it actually work, because I'm very hesitant to be like, oh, this will definitely work, right? Yeah, very cool.
That's super cool. Yeah, I think those are the kinds of use cases that I'm super excited about with AI. All right, well, I've got something I think you're gonna like. I got this R2D2.
Oh my God.
like robot. So this is thanks to Christina Martinez that I work with at Resend. I did several speaking things for Resend, and she gave gifts to all the speakers, and she's like, I know you're a coworker, but you also did a ton of work, so we're going to give you this too. And so the idea was like I could build this with my kids, and that would kind of make up for some of the time I missed with them, which was super kind. But the cool thing is there's two things. Number one, you can like turn it on, and it does a bunch of cool stuff. The problem is, as soon as I built it, I realized that the app doesn't work anymore. They sold the rights to this to a different company that basically nuked the app, so there's no way to actually interact with it. So I was like, are you kidding me? But I found an open source repo where somebody reverse engineered the app and basically found out how to do all this stuff. So I'm going to actually send you a little video of me recording my screen right now, but you can connect to the app. And let's see if it'll connect or not. There we go. So it'll connect to this app. And then I have this interface that I created using AI. the interface that that person had on the open source repo is really bad. So I'm like, this needs to be like cool, you know, for my kids. It needs to be cool. So you can play a bunch of different like sounds.
That's so cool.
Like all of his different ones. That's my kid's favorite.
Yeah.
And then you can also move the robot. So I actually have this little star field thing that I'll send you. So as you move, like stuff moves around, you can see like the wheels are turning and stuff. So it'll actually move around the floor and stuff like that. There's also a voice transmitter where you can record locally like your voice and have it play back. But that was not reverse engineered. So I actually reached out to the person who built the thing originally with Disney. They have not gotten back with me. So if you happen to be listening to this podcast episode, please let me know how to encode this voice. But I built this whole interface using AI. And then like I'll throw this up in an open source repo so other people can play with it if you ever get something like this. But that was really disappointing at first to know that I literally couldn't do anything with this, after we built it, and then really rewarding to figure out I could like use this open source repo, update it from several years ago that the person outputted it, and make it actually like a cool interface for people or for my kids to play around with. So anyhow, that's my show and tell today.
Oh my God.
Sorry, R2D2.
That's
Knocked his head off.
crazy. That's first of all, Christina's so awesome for doing that.
Seriously.
That's so cool. Shout out to Christina and the Silly Software Club.
Actually.
Is that a newsletter now? That's super cool.
It's a
like that
newsletter
she's
now.
doing that. I feel like I see a lot of that on Twitter. And second of all, that's so cool, and that's such a great use of like vibe coding something. That's
Seriously.
awesome. Like I think just great all around, 10 out of 10.
Shout out to everyone. Yeah, I will send you like the video of how this thing worked, and then I'll also send you maybe the screenshot of what it used to look like, and like the different features or functionality. It basically was like a UI change, but Claude Code like one-shotted it, and then I added like the Starfield animation that you'll see when I send it to you.
We gotta tag. Am I tagging? I'm gonna clip this and tag Disney. It's just like
You
Disney
totally should.
Yeah. Okay, mine has no physical thing, but you saw this update already on LinkedIn, I believe, but I am now going to be starting pickleball coaching sessions in March. So that's my show and tell. I had sent an email to this organization I play tennis and pickleball at a lot, like 7 months. It's been a while, like a long time ago. And then didn't hear back for a while. Then somebody reached out. We had been talking for like many months, and this is like it's really cool. It's really interesting because this is a non-for-profit organization. So their whole mission is they want to empower young kids by teaching sports, which is like super aligned. And they do like they work with deaf kids. So they literally have like sign language people that when they're playing tennis, and then just people who are like disabled. I'm not working specifically with those people, but like they do both the nonprofit work and then also just like regular sports stuff. But I'm very interested. I think not only I'll be coaching, but then also hopefully working with the pickleball like head there to hopefully do like create a repository of like pickleball drills and stuff like through video, which might be interesting. I'm like a little bit nervous because I know I'm somebody who will sink a lot of time into this, of which I do not have. So I'm like very excited, but I'm also think I need to like be very careful about the amount of time I spend, because it's also pays very little, which is totally fine with me. I did not do this for the money. But I'm very excited. Just a fun thing.
Yeah. Well, that picks up like some cool threads we've talked about between like the sports stuff and also like you saying like I want to find ways to give back and like, my kind of unique ways, and like to have both the skill, the interest, and to make the time somehow to do something like that is a cool thing to be able to like give back in a way that's unique to you. Like I think a lot of times people can just throw money at problems, and I'm not saying money is not a problem for people. It's easy for me to say, that if I don't have money problems, but I feel like the easiest problems to solve are the money ones. It's all the other ones to like have real people to invest in areas that those are the hard ones to really get people who are willing to do that. So I love people saying, I want to give back in a way that's like, oh, R2D2 is literally moving. I need to shut this thing off. But I think it's cool to use like your special talents to like give back.
Yeah, I really like the mission that they have. So I do think sports has been very impactful to me. And so hopefully I can help do that for other people. So yeah, very excited about it.
Yeah, well, thanks. I guess we can close this up. I know we've gone a little long today, but hopefully that's been useful to kind of talk through this. Let us know what you want us to talk about in the future. And thanks so much for following along. And Jess, thanks for the surprise topic.
Yeah, of course. Bye.
All right, see ya.